The reason God was the bigger entity for me is because I was being led through the wilderness. I was cutting away addictions, lots of addictions, and lots of stuff out of myself. And I needed that Old Testament God, his masculine ways of cutting and shaping and disciplining. I needed all that stuff in order to get through what I was going through. And so I was looking to God. I was looking through Christ into God. To me, Christ was the smaller entity at the time. So Revelation says, Christ sits in the throne. God, Christ himself says that somebody called him good. And he said, I am not good. God is the only good. Christ said, do not worship and praise me. You worship and praise God, okay? But here's what we got to realize. That book was made over 2,000 years ago. The evolution and progression of God does not stop, okay? So you can see it throughout the Bible, but then God didn't put the Bible together, for one. The church did. The Bible is a man-made composition. The words and everything may have come from God through the prophets and all that. I understand that, okay? But they've been translated by men, just plain old men, not prophets, not scholars, okay? Scholars. So worldly educated men are the ones who have translated the Bible and the Word. The truth is still in there. But that's because the truth is everywhere. You can't hide the truth. Evil tries. It changes it, manipulates it, and distorts it, and does all kinds of stuff to confuse us. But it's always there. You can't change that shit. So, anyways, something that's been happening. So I talked about the stuff falling in my house the other day. Things were falling around as I was going through my throat chakra and stuff. I was speaking. I was learning to speak and bringing my voice out. Okay, and the evil and stuff was coming out of my voice, going into things around me. I'm moving on up to my third eye, which would be Christ. That is Christ consciousness. If you get into researching the chakras and stuff, your spiritual body and all that, your third eye is where you find Christ consciousness. If I'm not, I need to go do some more research. I'm pretty certain it's your third eye. And then your crown, that is when you actually embody God again. So at the moment, Christ is what I have embodied. But there is another stage where I'll embody God. Which would be the 10th, and as far as I know, the final stage, because your crown, you can't go no higher than that. The crown of your head is your 7th chakra, or it is the 10th point on the tree of life, okay? So, which is the God aspect. It's the God aspect of the tree of life. So, anyways, as I said, coming into I've entered my Christ consciousness, my 6th chakra, which makes sense as to why everything's chaotic around me, because 6 is an evil number. Crazy shit happens when you get into your Christ consciousness to that chakra point, to that point. Just like in the Bible, when Christ comes along in the New Testament, all the Old Testament books, there's only one book. There is no fucking 2 books that repeat the same fucking story. But as soon as you get into the New Testament, there are 3 books that repeat the same story with all different details. That's evil. That's confusion. That is evil trying to confuse people and hinder their growth unto God. And most people don't make it through that. That's why the followers of Christ are as far as the eye can see. That's why they're the world's full of Christians, and more full of Christians than it is actual Christ-like people or God-like people, is what it says in Revelations. You'll become God-like. So you could say I've become Christ-like, because in my vision I was looking down upon God. That was the Old Testament God. Christ is bigger than the Old Testament God. But here's the thing. Once you enter into Christ, there is another level where the Old Testament God, all his old ways and stuff, will enter back into you, and then you kind of, in a sense, enter into a new, bigger God. That's what your Revelations talks about. You will enter into a new world, okay? And I've done this many times. Every single time you go from one chakra point to the next, you enter into a new world. But you see, this process happens on a large scale and a small scale. So the small scale, you could say, would be from each chakra point inside of myself. The large scale, you could say, would be from the crown of my head out into the physical world here. I already completed this process once, and I had one awakening and one enlightenment, where I was totally and completely connected to God. But then I gave in to temptation because I'd never been there before. I'd never experienced that. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And that's just part of the process. It says in Revelations, you will fall away from your first love. That is part of the trials and tribulations. So I fell in love, and I got tempted away from God. I gave in to sin, to pleasure, and fell away from God. And then so I had to go, I was unconscious the first time I went through the process. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'd never done it before. I just accidentally stumbled upon it. God, I have to completely credit God for that one, because I was in the dark. I don't know. God was guiding me just like he's guiding all of his children. But I found it. I found enlightenment, awakening, and then fell away from it. And now I have had to come back to it, but this time I was conscious. So I've been able to pay attention and learn, and have more control of it. So I've been able to go through this process within the last year, a little over a year, I guess, that I really started. After I fell away from God, I crashed all the way back to hell, to the bottom, and then I started working my way back up again. Okay, so it's just been a little over a year. The first time it took me 28 years, 28 and a half years almost, or something like that, before I found enlightenment. And I'm not jinxing myself here or nothing, but I'm coming up on it again. And I don't know how long it'll take me to get through these last two chakra points. I have no idea. Might be quickly, might not. I don't know. We'll see. It's moving along pretty quickly, though. Once you get up to the top, it's like building a pyramid. The pinnacle gets smaller and smaller, so less work that you have to do. When you're at the bottom, at the foundation, there's lots and lots of fucking work to do. So what I wanted to get at, though, is all the shit was falling around my house as I was coming up through my throat chakra. As I enter into my third eye chakra, my hair and shit has been falling out like a fucking woman's hair, dude. I'm finding that shit everywhere. And that is, like I said in my vision, that is a sign that my own feminine nature is returning to me, okay? I went out recently and bought some new soap, and my hair is just softer. I use it's body wash and shampoo, 2-in-1, but it's, I used to just use plain old fucking Head and Shoulders and a bar soap. I actually went out and bought some fucking, newer shit in a squirt bottle or what the fuck ever. Dove Men's Care or something, I don't know. It's good shit. I like it though. Damn, I'm taking care of myself. I'm treating myself more femininely, I guess you could say, than I used to. Fucking trying to keep my damn hands and stuff from getting all rough and rugged. Trying to smooth over my own rough edges. That way, I have no need for a fucking woman to come in and do that. That way, I'm not dependent upon a woman to do that for me. That is what makes me, or will make me, a godly, wholesome individual. See, before, I had a woman with me. And that is why I was able to connect to God the first time. But then she left me, ripped my heart open and everything. And so this time, I will reconnect to God. Well, at the first time I connected to God was on my own. But it was because of her. She led me through so many trials and tribulations and shit that helped me to awaken and everything. So she smoothed over all my rough edges. I'm doing it for myself this time. Hey, just for myself. Nobody else is doing it for me. I'm doing it for me. There's been lots of guides along the way. People have guided me and helped me along and stuff. But that's not really them as much as it is my own intuition and my own internal guidance. So I used to have over the last year. I've noticed a pressure in the top of my head, and I hadn't been able to get it to go away. But as I quit all my addictions and stuff, and as began working my way up my chakra points, that pressure has finally began to release. As I'm clearing the evil and stuff out, I'm clearing the blockages and the corruption out of me. And it was like right on the top of my head, and it was almost like that ringing in your fucking ear, tinnitus. Like you only hear it whenever it gets quiet or something in certain moments. Well, I only felt that pressure in certain moments when I was calm and still and nothing going on. But it was like it was always there. And now it's releasing. It's not really there so much. Since I accidentally fucking stopped the last video, this will be my second video for this one. I usually make 3 videos. Every time I enter into a new chakra point, I make 3 videos right off the bat because it's a wholesome number. 1 is a wholesome number, 3 is a wholesome number, 2 is a divided number. I don't like to leave it at 2, but we'll see. I don't know. I do what God calls upon me to do, really. I can't say that I purposely just make 3 videos. That's just the way it kind of turned out. So I can't say I purposely do anything. I do what I feel called upon to do. And then I observe. After I do a lot of shit, I'll look back and observe it, and I notice things. So just like the drug, I notice things from it all the time. But I also notice and learn life lessons from myself daily on a regular basis. I watch things. I notice things. So I was having trouble figuring that vision out. It wasn't quite making sense to me. But, I saw on Facebook this meme of 2 guys sitting in a jail cell. And they both had paintings. And there was a window on the wall that had bars. And you could see outside. You could see, the landscape and stuff. One person had a painting of he just painted the window and the bars. And that's all that was on the painting. The other person painted the window and the scenery outside in nature. There were no bars. Well, let me tell you something about me and my fucking vision, my own personal eyes. Like if I look up into the sky or something, I have what they call floaties. If you have glasses or something, you ever been to a I don't ever go, what the fuck are they called? Shit. Have your eyes checked. I can't think what the fuck that place is called now. Sometimes I'll ask you if you have floaties or something. Well, there's like spots and specks and shit on my eye, and I see them all over. Like if I look up at the blue sky or something, or sometimes randomly I'll see them. Kind of like the pressure in my head and the tinnitus in my fucking ears. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it ain't. It depends on what I'm doing and whether or not I'm looking for them or something. So all this stuff kind of connected together for me and helped me to realize that, to find understanding in my vision. So I was looking upon the Old Testament God, but I was like, well, who am I looking from? Where am I looking from? And then I realized, I need to take a different perspective on this. Instead of seeing the material that's in front of me, the world, you see worldly shit. I was literally looking down upon the world and then on Buddha, but I was not seeing back into myself. So I needed to turn that reflection around and look back upon myself. And then doing so, that was me figuring this little trick, that illusion out. God sets the trials and tribulations. There's like tricks and illusions and obstacles that you have to figure out on your own and have to figure out how to get through them. Okay, so this is what occult knowledge is. It's hidden knowledge and wisdom that you just simply cannot fucking attain unless you are willing to go through the darkness and the trials and the tribulations, the suffering, and go through all that shit to attain it. You can't just attain that kind of fucking knowledge just by reading a book. It doesn't work that way. You have to take a journey through your own internal soul, your spirit, your chakra points. So That's about all I got. I think that was good. It was good. Feels like it's been a while since I made a video. I know it hasn't, but I used to make them every single day. I'm slacking off on that, which is a good thing. It's a very good thing. So let me tell you what happened. By coming into Christ consciousness, those specks that I see or was seeing, they're kind of going away. I used to be stuck in my head quite a bit, but now I'm coming, because I have kind of embodied my mind or my head, my third eye's opening up. I'm actually seeing the world around me a lot more than I used to. Instead of being trapped in here or inside of me, now it's bringing me out into the open. So it's allowing me to have more energy, get more things done, be more productive. Okay, of course, today, like I said, I fucking sat around, but I was being spiritually productive. So you got to do that. If you're on this journey or whatever with God, if you want to grow into God, then you have to take time for yourself. You got to take time out of the world, quit, working or whatever. I mean, if God will call upon you to quit your fucking job, to leave your spouse, or to fucking do all sorts of goddamn shit. If you're lost, then He will do whatever He has to do to bring you to Him. But you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to listen and submit and surrender, and you have to have a desire for it. Most people don't. Their desire is in the world, worldly pleasures and shit. So, and there's nothing wrong with worldly pleasures, nothing at all. It's in Revelations too. But it's the lack of God. It's when we become overly indulged in Him and we lose sight of God, lose connection with God. That's when it becomes evil, corrupt and bad. That's when people start suffering and misery sets in. So I'm going to get off here. Still looking for progress and growth. Definitely, I can tell major improvements. My conversations on Facebook and just the way things are happening, man, I'm flying through this process 100 times quicker than the last time. So, I love y'all. Be good. Be safe. Stay with me. If you ain't fucking with me already, come follow me. Come watch, listen. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know what my Instagram name is. Facebook, I'm just Colton Lewis. From Renix Valley, West Virginia. I was in the Marine Corps. You'll see me. Got a big thumbs up there on my profile picture for the moment. Been waiting to try to figure it out. I want to put a new picture on there because the one that's on there got my teeth. Since then, I've had my teeth knocked out. So, hey, it's part of the journey, baby. It's wild. I'll have to look up my damn Instagram account. Get that to y'all. Take care.